into the big boy fights here. One of the ones that we wanted to preview, I think everyone was excited about this one. We had Sean O'Malley taking on Thomas Almeida. Sean O'Malley coming off of his TKO loss of Chito Vera back last year. One of kind of the hottest prospects, not only in the bantamweight division, I think all of the UFC. Came in undefeated. His leg gave out against Chito. He's getting a lot of criticism because he's, considering that a win still. So he was coming into this fight saying he was 12-0. He was undefeated. He had that mentality. Taking on a guy, Thomas Almeida, who started his career 21-0, right? This kid was on a rocket ship to the title. He ran into Cody Garbrandt, got knocked out, and has kind of been on a skid ever since. So Sean O'Malley coming in as a monster favorite in this fight. And I think he proved why. He came in, I think from, beginning to end this fight, dominated, could have put Almeida away in the first. Massive head kick. Almeida stumbles, drops him. And then I think he thought the fight was over. He was going to get one of his patented, walk-offs. The ref doesn't call it off. We head into the second round. And then we head into the third, and O'Malley gets it done just viciously. Especially when we were talking about this when we were watching the fights, like the one thing we're going to miss about having the fans back is being able to hear those shots. And that final shot from O'Malley with just an empty arena was just one of the most vicious things I've ever heard. Almeida was already out. I thought it was a little unnecessary. He even said it after the fight, but Sean O'Malley getting it done via KO. Break down this performance of Sugar Sean.
Yeah, it's a great comeback fight for him. He barely got touched the entire fight. Almeida was having a tough time getting on the inside. I think he landed, even O'Malley said in the post-fight interview that there was one shot that landed that was a pretty good one. But other than that, O'Malley used his distance, his movement, hit him with all sorts of shots, spinning techniques, landed some great punches, kicks. He looked, I mean, I'm not going to say back to his old self, but he looked better than we've ever seen him. And, had an opportunity to finish it in the first. Ref didn't step in. All the credit in the world to Almeida for making it to the third round, because that was a pretty vicious knockdown in the first. To come back and fight the rest of the round, that was pretty good. But yeah, I mean, just all around, it was a great performance for him. And big question too with the leg kicks, that they weren't really a factor in this fight.
Yeah, and I think afterwards it was a big fuck you to all his haters when he was walking out of the octagon and he was pretending to stumble and he was saying, all it takes is a leg kick, all it takes is a leg kick. So I thought it was a flawless performance. Like you said, he barely got touched. Man, what I was surprised about was the size difference in there. Like he looks like a weight class above Almeida in this fight. He's just a naturally like skinny guy, but when he's in there, man, he's all bulked up and he's a big, just tall dude for this division. And I think he's going to be a problem down the line, using his just reach, using his length. Like he's so fluid with his movement. Like I really do like, I'm not comparing him to anyone here, but like he moves like kind of like a young Conor McGregor, like the way like his feet work and his kicks. Like it's just it's crazy to watch. And yeah, I think he answered a lot of questions with can his leg withstand leg kicks? Yeah, he took a couple, right? There was nothing crazy. I thought Almeida was going to come in with kind of a more just like, I'm going to come at that leg kind of game plan, like he said. But he did what he did. And I thought Almeida, as tough as he is and how as long as he lasted in that fight, it was super impressive, super like compelling fight, and is one that Sugar Sean definitely needed to win to keep that hype going. Because although he lost to Chito, there was a lot of controversy with it. Like, what if the leg didn't give out? I know it did, and I know he lost the fight, and I know he got TKO'd, but a lot of people still say like, hey, what happens if it didn't give out? Could he have beat Chito? All that stuff. But props to Thomas Almeida for lasting that long. Sean O'Malley came in with and definitely made a statement. Another just highlight reel KO. And, you know, the hype train continues. I guess like the biggest thing for him, right, is he came in unranked. He took on a guy in Almeida unranked. This fight, I wouldn't say this fight had really a lot to gain in here. Like Almeida is definitely a tough opponent, but this wasn't a guy in the top 15. This wasn't a guy in the top 10. Like this was just another fight to get the Sugar Show back on track. What do you think's next for him? Because I know Chael Sonnen on the after show said that Dom Cruz texted Chael right away and said, I want a piece of the Sugar Show. Like, does that fight make sense? Because that's like a big jump up from not being ranked to taking on Dom Cruz, who's number, what is he in the division right now?
He's at number 9.
He's number 9. So is that like too big of a jump? Is that not fair to guys like, you got guys like Cody Stamann, Kyler Phillips, who's looked just phenomenal. A guy like Cheeto Vera, right, who beat O'Malley and then unfortunately lost to Jose Aldo and is now sitting at that number 15 spot. If you're Dana White, you're playing matchmaker, what makes sense for the Sugar Show? Obviously, this kid brings a ton of eyeballs to the sport. He's brash. He's loud. I got a massive social media presence. Like, I know sometimes this is business decisions, but if you're Dana White, what are you doing next? Especially with Dom Cruz calling him out.
Yeah, I think you give him another ranked opponent. I think at this point, with all the finishes he's had, and he's only got that one loss to Cheeto Vera, which isn't like a blemish on anyone's record. Cheeto Vera he's one of the toughest guys in the division. Yeah, I like the Dom Cruz fight. I mean, if Dom Cruz is calling for it and O'Malley wants it, I think that's what they should do. Especially with Cruz just fighting. You know, he just fought on the prelims for the first time ever.
Yep.
You know, a couple weeks ago, a month ago, whatever. And you know, and I don't see Kenny on the rankings either. So I mean, if Cruz wants to fight, O'Malley wants to fight, I think that's a really marketable one. I think that'd be a really fun one to watch with all the footwork. I think it'd be more like a chess match. And I think the implications for both fighters are huge. It's a big payday for the two of them. If O'Malley wins, it brings him right into the 7, 8, 9 in the rankings most likely. And if Cruz wins, that puts him on a 2-fight winning streak, gets him right back to the top of the heap, gets him a lot of exposure with a big name like O'Malley. I like that one a lot. Another one that I've seen is that I've seen people talk about is we got Stamann and Merab fighting pretty soon, and potentially the winner of that. I think that's another one that would make sense. But I think the funner fight is probably the Cruz fight. But I think either one of those scenarios would be a good move for O'Malley.
Yeah, and I mean, you got a guy like Dom Cruz calling you out. Dom Cruz is a legend. He was a champion in this division. He was unblemished for a while, right? So it's like, hell yeah, you're gonna take that, right? Hurt a few feelings on the way up, but this is his chance to propel into the top 10, take out a legend, continue the hype train, and then we're talking about a potential O'Malley title shot. Probably, if he keeps this up, I'd say early next year, man. Like if the way he goes and how active he is within the fight game, like. I mean, who knows if he works his way up here in the bantamweight division, right? It's just so fun. He just adds to this mix of just like fun fighters to watch. Like you take a look at this top 5, right? We got the current champion Sterling, him and Jan are going at it. Corey Sanhagen's taking on TJ Dillashaw. Rob Font's taking on Cody Garbrandt. That's just the top 5. Everyone in the top 5 is booked. That is so fun. And then you add a guy like O'Malley, who, again, he's just so fluid with his movement. He can knock you out from anywhere, right? Really hasn't been tested on the ground. So, like, do they throw, like, for example, a guy like a Stamann or a Merab? Like, that's going to be an interesting fight for him to see how he can overcome adversity there. And then you got a guy like Dom Cruz, who moves just like him, who's just as quick, right? Maybe not like right now, but in his prime, like, no one could even touch Dom Cruz. So it's an interesting fight. I agree. It's a little bit more compelling, and it gives him more of that like step up into the rankings. So I'm hoping they make that fight next. I don't know. Chael said something about Dom Cruz saying like, I want a piece of the Sugar Show next. Who knows if that's true, but I love that fight. And I think agreed. There's a lot of implications for both of those guys. So We'll see what happens there. And this bantamweight division is just so stacked, and there's just so many good fights to make. And I can't wait to see that unfold. And then obviously Sugar Show is good television there. The way he talks, his interviews, like all that stuff. He's he's definitely making a name for himself there. So shout out Sean O'Malley, Sugar Show, great win, another highlight reel knockout. So let's move into the co-main event. This was originally supposed to be the featherweight championship on the line. Brian Ortega taking on Alexander Volkonovsky. Volkonovsky had to pull out due to COVID-19. So in the co-main event slot, we had a fun one. Vicente Lucay taking on Tyron Woodley. Woodley back against the wall, lost 3 in a row. I think he's potentially on the verge of one more loss, and he's, probably going to get caught or going to have to retire or whatever it is. Taking on a killer Vicente Lucay, who was on a tear, ran into Wonder Boy, and now is on a tear again. And for as long as this lasted, my God, was this one fun. Tyron Woodley from the opening bell comes out with just an overhand right, tries to take Lucay out in one punch. They were going back and forth. Woodley rocks Lucay. Lucay rocks Woodley. Woodley's just spinning around the octagon. I don't know how they didn't call this fight. Woodley somehow rocks Lucay again, and then Lucay drops Woodley, submits him. What was the choke on this? I forget what kind of choke it was, but looks like Bravo choke. I don't even know what the hell that is.
Yeah, it kind of looks like a Darce, but yeah, I saw that too. I'm not sure what the difference.
Yeah, I thought it was a confirmed Darce, but Vicente Lucay just going in for the